Welcome back. In step 5 and then step 6, we are going to understand about Terraform state file on a very high level and then also review the terraform.tfstate file one more time. Okay, so let's go back to our presentation here. And if you see from Terraform state perspective, so we need to see the entire workflow one more time. So as a Terraform admin, I'll write the Terraform configuration file to create a Terraform resource. So to create a resource using Terraform, and then I will go ahead and then start the Terraform init command. So it will download the provider, and then we will do the Terraform validate and then Terraform plan and then Terraform format FMT or whatever it is, and then we'll move on to the next step of Terraform apply. So when you do the Terraform apply for the first time, so what it does is, so it is going to create a Terraform state file and also the Terraform provisioned resources. So which means using Terraform, it provisioned a EC2 instance resource in the AWS cloud, and that respective EC2 instance information will also be present in the local directory of the Terraform folder where your configuration files are there. So the file name is called terraform.tfstate. Okay, so which is nothing but Terraform doesn't have any way to know what it has provisioned from CLI perspective, right? So we can call the terraform.tfstate file as the database file where you have the resource remote object information. Okay, so which is nothing but resource information. So let's see on a very high level what does that mean. So Terraform must store state about your managed infrastructure and then configuration. So this state is used by Terraform to map real world resources. So your real world resource is your EC2 instance created in your AWS cloud to your configuration, the .tf files whatever you have created, EC2 instance.tf file where you created the resource, right? So it is the mapping between real world resources and your configuration files. Okay, so it will keep track of the metadata information of your EC2 instance and to improve performance for larger infrastructures. So this state is stored by default in a local file named terraform.tfstate, but it can also be stored remotely, which works better in a team environment. So if you want to store your terraform.tfstate file in a remote environment, so why you want to store it in a remote environment is because every team member want to access this file to provision the infrastructure or change the infrastructure. So if it is sitting in your local working directory, it has no use, right? So in a team environment, this file need to be stored in a remote location. So like S3 buckets or Terraform cloud or wherever we want to, or whatever we choose to put it. So we have a detailed section about that. So when we go to our respective section, right? So we are in step 5 here. So let's leave this here and I'll show you. So if I go here to AWS HashiCorp, right? So let me go there, right? And if you go to Terraform State, so there will be a dedicated section with remote state storage, okay, with also locking facility. So with the backend with S3 bucket where your Terraform tfstate file will be stored, and also enabling the locking feature with the S3 bucket with DynamoDB table. So when we reach that section, we are going to understand it in better about this statement about it will be stored remotely, okay. But for now, we will focus on having this file in our local working directory, which is nothing but in our Terraform manifest for those respective resources, right? So the primary purpose of Terraform state is to store bindings between the objects in remote system and resource instance declared in your configuration. So it is the same thing, okay. The configuration files whatever you have stored and also the remote infrastructure whatever it has created, it creates a mapping between both of them and then stores that information in this file. And when Terraform creates a remote object in response to change of configuration, it will record the identity of that remote object against a particular resource instance, and then potentially for the future updates or deletes for that respective objects. So the configuration changes whatever you do, so Terraform knows those information, means like it has the state of your remote object in it, and then if you change your configuration with some value, okay, so it know that the current configuration what is present inside the remote object in its Terraform tfstate file, and then it will allow us to compare and then update the things whatever is required for us. Okay, so that's about on a very high level about the Terraform state and then its introduction. So the next step for us is to focus on reviewing the current terraform.tfstate file whatever we created in our previous step. Okay, so if you see here, the Terraform version whatever you are seeing is the version whatever we have declared here with the constraint. Okay, and next thing here is the resource whatever you have defined. So that's the important one. So resource type is AWS_instance and resource name is my EC2 VM. So always the resource name, which is nothing but the local name. So the terraform.tfstate file or the Terraform focuses on that respective resources local name in the terraform.tfstate file. So that's the reason this local name is very important for us whatever we define here, and then it should be unique across this entire this module whatever you have defined, this root mod. You call this as whatever is present inside this Terraform manifest, C1 and C2 as root module, and inside this root module this local name should be unique. Okay, so always you refer your instances, you refer your resources inside terraform.tfstate file with the local names whatever you have defined here. Okay, and the provider information which is registry.terraform.io/hashicorp/aws. Okay, so this is the one whatever you have defined, and that is what you are seeing here. And now you see the instance information, whatever the instance you have created, that instances information you are seeing here. And this instance information, you can see it that this is nothing but your AWS EC2 instances, entire metadata of that EC2 instance. Okay, so AMI name and then ARN value and all the information about that instance is provided here as a reference for us to cross compare when we again change the configurations. Okay, so this is about a review of our respective terraform.tfstate file. So in our next lecture we are going to test the update in place resource behavior and see what happens from state perspective and also from the resource perspective in the real world scenario from remote object perspective. So I'll see you in the next lecture. Until then, bye bye. Thank you.